What up, peeps? Welcome to the Kisscapades podcast. I'm your host, John Telewa, aka the Kiss Bandit. And in this show, we explore the key elements that shape a fulfilling existence, from health and well-being to financial success, meaningful relationships, and the pursuit of happiness. We cover it all. Our guests include experts, professionals, and everyday individuals who have remarkable stories to tell. Tune in to learn practical tips, gain valuable insights, and discover strategies for personal growth and transformation. Whether you're seeking to improve your health, build your wealth, enhance relationships, or find lasting happiness, we got you covered. Welcome to today's episode. So I do have a very special guest, and I'll let them introduce themselves before we take the podcast away. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
So let people know your name and what you do.
Well, my name is Nafuna. I'm a financial planner. I am at the moment attached to a certain company, but I also do personal finance. So I help you build and protect the wealth that you basically have built.
And I think that's one of the, I don't know whether it's just me, but I'm so deep in the finance community right now. I'm just like taking everything, not by the grain of salt like people say. Now I'm just serious about it.
Okay.
I'm doing more research on the internet. I'm not a book person, so I don't read any books, but I've read The Psychology of Money. I've forgotten the name of the author, but I also follow him on Instagram and stuff. But it's just kind of different from what our parents used to do. So many things have changed on how you can build, like now, work on money, strategize a future for your kids, yourself, and making sure people that you leave behind, unfortunately, when you're longer here, can still get to enjoy the fruits of your labor. Let me put it that way.
Yes, that is true.
So let's just start with maybe a bit on like your background. Is this something that you wanted to be initially before you got into it, or is this something that interested you later on in life?
Oh, okay. First of all, I was not into it. I was not into finance at all. I was an IT specialist, believe it or not. Yeah, I did IT in uni, and then way after, let's say life pushed me towards this direction. Yes.
In what way, though?
Okay.
Is it? I don't want to say like. Do you ever find yourself in? I find financial hurdles, and then you're like, yo, if I knew I can do this better,
Yes.
and then you just start like.
Yes. So I took some classes. Yes. After that, I took some classes, and then I went into the financial field because, sometimes life can give you a slap.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, that takes you to the right direction. I don't know if it's right or wrong or whatever, but yes.
It pushes you to the wall, and you have to figure something else that's new.
Yes,
So,
that is true.
If we're talking about something, it might sound simple, but it's not simple.
No, it's not.
It's not, right?
It really is not.
Let's just talk probably about building wealth. Like, what are like the new strategies that somebody can use right now, whether it's like just an individual or maybe if it's a family setting or just like a slightly bigger community? Because I know if you're around Kenya, you notice like there's some certain communities that do take generational wealth very seriously.
Yes.
And they teach it down to like their kids, grandkids, and everybody kind of knows how they're supposed to maintain and build and manage like their wealth.
Yes.
So what are some of the strategies you think like now, like let's say in 2023, somebody can start on to just kind of build wealth?
So first and foremost, where we are right now is a very tricky time. It's very, very tricky. So now you find that you're in a point where your income is not growing, your expenses are growing. You find that say 1,000 Kenya shillings right now cannot do too much for you,
Nope.
Whereas in about 10 years ago, 1,000 shillings was quite something to talk about, yeah. So what I can recommend, rather, I would request that people start checking on their wastage, you know. Little wastage is like, okay, fine, instead of buying 2 kilograms of meat, let me reduce this to 1.5,
Yeah.
you know. Instead of me buying airtime every 2 minutes, you're buying, you know, that these nice offers that come, yeah.
Nowadays, there are offers everywhere.
Yes, but if you look properly, you find that those offers actually cost you more than just buying like a full bundle, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, instead of doing that, you regulate your expenditure on everything.
So you basically start with basic commodities.
Basic commodities.
If you're eating meat like 5 times a week, you need to shred it down to probably twice a week or something,
Yes,
right?
yes. And you know, you'll find that if you can do that, you have a few extra shillings to put into an investment plan. Maybe we can start with something as low risk as a money market fund. Yeah. There's some companies right now, rather I know there's one company where they allow you to start a money market fund with as low as 500 shillings. So,
500?
Yes, 500.
Okay.
Yes.
People always ask me like, oh, I know you need a lot of money to need, but you can go as low. You can start with as little as
Yes,
500.
as little as 500 shillings, you can start a money market fund and grow it from there. So you can decide that this little wastage that you were doing, maybe you're someone for sherehes and you go and you drink 3,000 bob in a night. Why not take out that 1,000 bob, throw it in a money market fund, and it grows for you, and then you can use your 2,000 bob for your fun.
But now, I'm sorry just to cut you off, because
Okay.
I know, especially like when finance people are talking, at times you do have that layman. Once you start mentioning something like, money market fund, you've already lost them.
Oh, okay.
Because now they're like, okay, yes, I do have that 500 shillings, even if it's to
Yes.
have like, let's say do you know what a money market fund is? Yeah. Would you miss 500 shillings in a week? Yeah. So you see, exactly. So that's why I'm saying kind of like, you see, like your ordinary kind of person, like not even my assistant. Yes, they would not miss that 500 shillings, but they don't know what a money market fund is.
Okay.
So if you can just package it down to, layman's terms, the best way, like what's a money market fund and how like does it work?
Okay.
Yeah.
So a money market fund basically is an account that is run by an institution, basically either a bank or an insurance firm, because they've been regulated to be able to run that as an investment. So the money market fund, it runs like your usual current account where you can deposit all the money, and pull it out at any time without a problem. The difference is that the money market fund will acquire an interest daily. So if you put in 500 shillings today, tomorrow it'll be maybe 501 shillings.
Wait, we're talking about daily interest rate?
Yes.
It's not like an annual thing?
It is an annual interest rate, but it is calculated daily on your money.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, makes sense. Makes sense to me. I hope it makes sense to you as well. And then now, because when you're talking about like, financial institutions that are actually regulated, and this is also like common in Kenya, there's so many other small things, and there are always like scandals here. People like put their money here. When they went to go back for their principal, they haven't been paid. The money is not there, or the company is not in existence. So how does like just also like back down to ordinary mwananchi know like this is the best place to go if I'm not necessarily going to a bigger institution?
Yeah.
So how do they filter out like, because, she was telling me like, that there's this company where you go with your money. Let's say you have 500,000, right?
Yeah.
You give them 500,000 and then they'll double your money in how long? 6 months.
Is that a pyramid scheme?
Yeah, right. It's not the pyramid scam. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was just telling her like, there's nothing like that exists. It's always
Yeah.
like a rug pull thing. They trap the first, second person. You go
Yes.
call other people, and then they just disappear with the cash.
But they do disappear with the money.
Always. But how do, like, is there a place, like, is there a website, is there a place strategically, like ordinary mwananchi, or just your regular Joe can go and actually find these institutions?
Yes, this information is actually online, readily available from the Capital Markets Authority website.
Ah.
Yes.
Capital Markets Authority website.
Yes.
I didn't even know that, and I'm a finance enthusiast.
They're the ones who basically regulate a lot of financial institutions. They're the ones who say who's going to trade, who's not going to trade. You know, they regulate. If you go and invest with people who are not regulated by them and it falls, then basically...
Yeah, you have nobody else to blame.
Yeah, you lose your investments.
But at least now you know where you can actually just go and, make sure you get like that confirmation that these guys actually have the rights to do whatever they're doing. Okay, I wrote down like a list of questions because I didn't want to miss out on anything. I know because I can ask a lot of things randomly, but I would rather be strategic in what I'm asking so that it's beneficial to my audience, right?
Okay.
So you won't mind me just throwing them at you because you're the expert here. Okay, so even like now when you threw in like just budgeting, I have it down like on my question. Okay. The question was like, what role does budgeting play in building and managing wealth effectively? So can you imagine that's actually down on? So we'll just tap in on that a bit, and then we'll go to the next question. Because now we just go back down to basic budgeting.
Yes.
Apart from basic commodities, how else can you just like, make sure... Let's throw the word there. It's just budgeting. How else can you work around the budget apart from your basic commodities? Because there'd be somebody who'd be like, yes, I budget already in the house and I still don't have enough money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, in the budget, how can I put it? I'm trying to be as simple as possible. In your budget, you must have...
In fact, I'll even throw something else. You know how normally, let's say at the end of the month, because yes, we've just said budget about basic commodities, but there's this thing, I don't know if it's like a business thing, but I've seen people do, because I haven't studied business, by the way, just to be clear, so that everybody knows. At the end of the month, there's how people normally do like basic expenses.
Yeah.
This is going to savings, this is going to investment, and then an emergency fund as well, I guess, and all those things. Is it something that you can break it down in a very simple form for people?
Yes. Okay. I'm going to try my best to be as understandable as possible.
For sure. Any way it's possible, like the best way you can explain it, that's what I need for my audience.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you look at your paycheck at the end of the month, you know that the basic things that everybody has to pay for. Basically, there's the rent, there's the basic needs, food, clothing, shelter. Clothing you don't require every month, so you do not need to allocate a budget for it every month, Shelter is important and food is important. So you make sure those ones are sorted in your budget. And then now you have other things that come under shelter. That is cleaning commodities. Maybe you want to buy a sofa, or maybe, all that comes under shelter. Yeah. Food. You have to tell yourself, fine, I want to be eating chips every single day.
and chicken.
Chips and chicken.
Yeah.
Every single day of the month. So that will require that I have one sack of potatoes. So you have to factor that in. You have to factor up that, okay, fine, I'm a Luya lady.
Oh, chicken is a must,
yes.
Right? Chicken is a must.
Because of that, maybe we could say 4 chicken just for me for the month. Chicken a week.
Which actually makes sense. Yeah.
Yes. So we also have to factor that in the beginning. So that leaves you with yourself. You as a person, you also need to grow. You also need to treat yourself. You need to say, hey, I have worked hard. I need to do something for myself. Some people opt to do the whole sherehe thing and they go and drink, but you need to put a little amount for yourself.
Is this like personal care?
Personal care, yes. And then now you have your saving. Saving comes in different varieties, in different ways, If you're, saving for your retirement, for example, you say you're 29 and you want to save for your retirement. We would start by, 29 is not too young.
It's not too young, but they always say, like in finance terms, if it's saving for retirement, it's ideal to actually start early.
Yes, the younger the better.
But younger people don't know this information, how beneficial it could be for them at the end of
So anyway, let's say you're 29 and you want to save up. You look at 20% of your income is what you put aside for your savings. This is to go to your retirement. But then now, it's a bit unrealistic in this day and age. So what do? We slice it down to about 5%, depending on your age. The older you are, the higher the percentage that you need to put for your retirement. Yes. So if you're around 26 to 29, you can afford to put about 5% of your income into that. Let's say now we do that for retirement. And then you remember that every day in life, anything can happen. Really, anything, sickness, whatever can happen. So you need to cater for that with an emergency fund. Now, the emergency fund, I would recommend a money market because you put in money, it grows daily. And you can pull all of it out to go towards maybe your hospital bill or maybe rebuilding your business or infusing it into something. Now, an emergency fund is a fund that you can access very quickly. You can access your money very quickly. But it is advisable not to use the money in your emergency fund for just anything.
It has to be an actual emergency.
It has to be an actual emergency. So in a human being's life, it would be advisable to have 3 bank accounts. 3 accounts,
3, okay.
An emergency fund, which we would say is a money market. But for wealthier people, we would place it as an account elsewhere. We will get there.
Okay, yeah, for sure. It's baby steps. As long as you're in the journey already.
Yes.
That's what's important.
So now for us who are starting just basically with our finance goals, we open up the money market fund and then we make it our emergency account, yes?
Okay.
And then we have our bank account. Our bank account or SACCO account, that one is very important. That is what we will basically be using for our midterm goals, I want to build a house, I need a loan. I rush to the bank, I get a loan. I want to expand my business, I need a loan. I go to my SACCO, I acquire a loan. So you need that for that. And then you need a long-term savings plan or a goal-oriented plan. That's when you need long-term.
Is this like for buying a house, or are we talking about like now that's super retirement when you say long-term? Because
when I say long-term, I'm talking about 10 years going upward, because in life, everybody has to have goals. Everybody does have to have goals.
True.
So you have the short-term goals, you have the mid-term goals, and then you have the long-term goals, right? Like a short-term goal could be like, I want to change out my wardrobe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That actually, I think now that you've mentioned that, I want to chip in like just a bit on how like my strategy is. And my strategy has been like, because I've been working for like a lot of years, let's just say for a lot of years, right? And at first, I never knew what I was supposed to do with money. Yes, I do have the money.
Yeah.
Like, how do I, like, plan it. How do I save it so that I can do something with it maybe in future? Currently, it was so confusing because I'm like, either I spend it now on something. You know how people normally say like, this money, as long as it's in my pocket, somehow it just disappears. I don't know what happened to it. Yet you're the one who actually spent it. That was like my whole situation. So my personal strategy currently was just working with bonds. But I know bonds require like you to have like a little bit, it's a bit capital intensive, right?
Yes, it is capital intensive.
Yeah, but for me, bonds kind of, I've split them to two.
Okay.
Some for long term.
Yeah.
Now when we're talking about like super long term savings. And then I'll have a portion now that just funds like my lifestyle so that I know my rent is good because I've strategized it because they're semi-annual. I've strategized it to a way that every month I'm getting a check.
Yes.
So that takes care of me, maybe whether it's 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
I just know I never have to be concerned about things like rent, utilities, and food. That's for sure.
That is very clever.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's just something new, and I think even my, what's the name? What's the name of the person who's giving you advice on money, your personal finance in the bank?
Your financial advisor?
No,
there's
a term. A relationship manager.
Oh, yes, your relationship manager.
So even my relationship manager was like, that's very interesting. Yes. How comes I've never thought? I was like, yeah, because for me, I'm looking at it as I don't want to be broke this month. Next month, I have money. So I was just like, I need to figure out how, in a stationary way, I can have average a certain amount of money. So even now when I'm adding my bonds, I'm strategic in every month. I just add specific. But if this month is low, I top up on this month. Yeah. And that's just has been my strategy. So what do you think about that?
It's brilliant.
Yeah, so...
It is very brilliant.
I know I cut you off on what was the... Before I cut you off, what exactly was...
Long-term saving.
Long-term saving, and that's why I was mentioning like bonds and stuff. So
yes.
Yeah, you can just finish up on that if you have some extra info for like my audience.
No, I think what you have said is brilliant, you know, and that's when you have the bonds and now you come into companies so that they can help you with investing. Yeah.
And I think that's one of the other things. For personally, I don't want to name the bank so that people think I'm paid to promote it. So I won't mention the bank. But if you just head out to your bank, ask, talk to somebody, ask for a relationship manager, and just let them because when you walk into a bank, they actually give you this information for free.
Yes,
because I remember I was asking one of my friends, how comes you've never gone to just ask? Well, like, will they need it? I was like, imagine that's all. One thing I was so happy about because I just went, asked after watching a YouTube video, and they just talked to someone. They told me like, okay, you can do this, this, and this. And I reflected back to what I had seen on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this is what I need to do now.
Yeah.
Because I'm in a position where if I don't strategize, I might look back and regret. And that's what I did not want to do.
Yes.
So definitely, and even on bonds, we'll still go back to my question. On bonds, I don't know are you much aware or in tune with every bond that's happening or when they release them? Or no?
Yes, we actually get information.
Okay. Oh, yeah, like updates.
Yes, we get updates all the time.
So last week, I know this episode will come out later, but I won't say last week. Let's just say recently the government released this bond that was 15.8%.
Yes.
They say this hasn't been done since probably 8 years ago.
Yes, in a very long time.
In a
very exciting time.
Yeah, so what do you think about such? Because at times people are like, that seems a bit too high. Should we be aware? Will they pay back our money? Should we, it seems like almost too good to be true.
Bonds are a guarantee. Bonds pay. So you will get your money back, yes. the problem is with the people who are before and the bonds were a bit lower. You know them. They will undergo a bit of a loss.
Some I remember even 9%,
Yes,
8%, and then you see
yes.
something released for 15.8%.
Yes, it's a bit painful, but
Yeah,
it's life.
it's life. But I know you can always go collect your principal, but there's a deduction if the maturity date is not yet.
Is not yet.
Is not yet there.
For everything, there's terms and conditions, and you have to follow them.
Nice.
Yes.
So would you recommend relationship managers in strategic planning?
Yes, I would recommend relationship managers. I would recommend financial planners. So when you see somewhere someone is advertising their financial planner and they tell you the consultation is free, take the consultation. It's not going to hurt you.
Just pay. It's going to save you in the long run.
Yes.
Okay, now let's jump into that because these questions are way too many. And I know, I'm just looking at the clock as well. I want to touch base on almost each one of them. So what are the most common mistakes people make when trying to build wealth? That you've noticed, or you can just say currently this is what people like.
Yes. Many people are jumping into the stock market without realizing what they're doing. They think everybody can trade, but no, trading is a skill, just like anything else, just like civil engineering, just like what you do here, John. Trading is a skill, you know, it takes time. And so a lot of people are losing money. And also NFTs, you don't just jump into those things without doing research and following,
Yeah.
Yes, so people are losing a lot of money on that. A lot of
crypto as well.
Yes, cryptocurrency, yes. People are losing a lot of money on that. You need to be, in as much as you have a high appetite for risk, you also need to be very careful in what you invest in, Yeah.
I guess it's one of those things I know people, I think the biggest problem now is everybody wants everything super fast.
Yes.
I know the economy is hard, but everybody wants everything just
yes.
now. I want it now. I want it now. I want to put money here today.
Yes,
and
the PUP generation, we call it.
When you go to crypto, stock market, and what else have you mentioned? It's so
NFTs,
volatile, NFTs, because today it's this price.
Yes.
On Monday you wake up, it's
down.
dove in dove down to 50%.
Yes.
And that's crazy.
And
you can
it's
only
really
imagine.
bad.
Even psychologically, how
people lose everything.
I know a lot of people who've lost, quite a lot, because that's what their plan was.
Yeah.
They wanted to put money there, and they wanted to double it in a week. 2x, 3x, at 100x in 1 week. So I'm one person might be lucky, but there might be 98% of people who
who lose their money. They lose everything, their livelihoods, everything.
And also it's interesting because those are some of the things that you've mentioned. They're I think those are called the high risk investments.
Yes.
High risk investments. They can reward you, but they can also wipe you clean.
Yes.
But I'm just wondering because the government also just talked about introducing tax on I think crypto and NFTs.
Yes.
It was on their priority list. But their strategy was, their percentage markup was how much? Was it 3%?
3%.
I mean, what's your thought on that?
I don't think it's viable because it fluctuates so much. I don't think they will get too much when it comes to that. Yeah.
And even how do you track NFTs
It's very
and
hard to track.
crypto?
Yeah.
To tax somebody, how do you do that?
Well, it's actually very...
I think it needs a really intelligent system,
yes,
which might take a really long time to develop,
Yes.
Especially in Kenya, because so
they don't tax it anywhere because it's very hard to track. You know? It's almost impossible.
It's almost impossible.
Yes.
But if you're out there, it's just something that maybe you can just study before you get into it, because at least the government is aware of it, and they're just trying to figure out how they can No, hey, because everybody says like, if there's a loophole somewhere where you can just create wealth as well,
You do it.
you do it because,
But you need to be very cautious.
very, because the same way we've said, you
yeah.
can lose everything as well.
Yes.
And which you just might. Chances are very high. You might. You might lose a lot. So high risk investments, don't chase them like, with that whole thing in mind, like I want everything now. So what else would you say you've seen people like make mistakes with? Because I also have to go back to what our parents used to do back in the days. Their strategies were slightly different.
Yes.
Like, you get maybe a tender, you get your check from your client or whatever institution has paid you, have millions of shillings.
And splurge?
No, even not splurge. Do you go buy land? Do you make a building? Because all those to me are slightly old school strategies. I wouldn't do that personally, but I would just want to know from like a financial point of view and expertise.
Yeah.
Like, is that something that still works currently? Like buying land, building, and just buying like a big house. Are those strategies that are good, or like how personally I look at them and I'm like, no, this is a mistake. I don't think this is a good way of building wealth.
Yeah, well, that's very old school. When you get some money, you go purchase land, you go build an apartment building. That's very old school. But the thing is that it still works. It still works. But it works for a certain period of time, especially if you're going to get money and buy an apartment or build an apartment. It does take a lot it takes a lot out of you. Let's just say when it comes to about, when you build an apartment in about 5 years, you have to go back and check up on it and renovate. And if you want to get in with the times, if you want people to live in your building, it's a lot of, it consumes a lot of capital. Yes.
And your time.
And your time, yeah.
So now, because I also just to paint this in like a more practical picture, let's say you have, let's go with a number that's easy to just do division with. Let's say you have 10 million, right?
Yeah.
Because we have like a lot of maybe townhouses, apartments, maybe like in Kilimanis and all these like upper areas where you can, I think roughly would be 8 to 10 there, but let's work with like 10 million, right? You can get a townhouse somewhere, a big townhouse, depending on where you're buying it for 10 million, right?
Yeah.
Why would you buy, what would be your reason for buying like a townhouse as an investment that you've talked about? Like now you have to supervise, make sure everything is good, get a tenant,
Being a liability.
And before you finish even this whole period of building, construction, getting permits and everything before somebody moves in, it might take probably a year, 2-3 years.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you have the same 10 million, you go with my way.
Bonds.
They just go straight to bonds, which like the government has already done. Like, let's say they did you catch like the 15.8. Yes. Let's just call it 16%. That means you're already making around 160 monthly. From that day you put that money in, maybe from the next month, depending on how, like I've talked about how I strategize I balance out all my bonds.
Yeah.
So you can just kind of split them and
you can basically run your life.
Yeah. And you're just okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So why would you go for a house instead of just something like this that's already? Because you're giving the government the money so that they're the financial planners now.
Yeah.
They're paying you. First of all, they're borrowing money from you.
They're borrowing money from you, yeah.
You're a boss already. You're employing the government.
Yes.
If it's infrastructural bonds, tax-free.
Tax-free,
So
yes.
why? I just want to understand, why would somebody go for a house? Because to me, it sounds like a liability.
It's the thought. It is a thought of the generation, you know. It's all a mindset, you know. And this was like the best way to invest for a certain type of age group, you know.
Yeah.
But now what we are realizing in this field is that for the younger people, they do not even want to purchase a house. They don't even want to live alone in a house. They want to share.
Yeah.
You know, things have changed. A lot has changed.
Yeah.
Though I do understand their mindset. They're like, okay, fine, this is an investment because if I live here, my children live here, my children's children live here, you know. They don't need to spend this sort of money on rent. You know, I could sell it later and it could take care of my retirement. You know, they look at it in that way. They do not, and they actually find it very difficult to look at it as when you buy bonds, it's an asset for you, you know. They're like, they're not assets. Those are papers, you know.
In fact, even let me tell you an even better one. If you need to liquidate bonds, you can do that anytime you want.
Yes.
If you want to offset a house,
it could take you up to 2 years.
Especially if it's in distress. Let's say you have an emergency and you do want to dispose that house.
Yes.
Like you've said, 2 years is not time. It's not enough time for an emergency.
It actually is too long.
Yeah.
It'll be too little, too late.
Yeah. What happens now? That's an emergency. You're supposed to actually fix something, or there's somebody is in distress. And this is not a wealth building strategy that I'm talking about. Like you go and wait until somebody's in distress, and that's where you walk in.
Buy their property.
yeah. I know. But in some cases, even institutions do that. Institutions do that. That's why, like, if you need a loan, they'll be like, okay, what assets do you have?
Yes.
Come with them.
Need for collateral.
Let's do the paperwork. This is collateral. In case you don't pay, hey.
Yeah.
It's all good.
We'll confiscate your house.
Yeah. So what's wrong with an individual doing that if institutions, that's where they're doing it legally?
Well.
So that can be another strategy. But this is just like, last resort. I'm not saying that's what people should do.
But people do it.
People do it.
Yes.
Yeah. We do paperwork, collateral, loan people money, and,
Yes.
It's an easy way of getting a car, a house,
Very easy.
A lot of.
Or you could just practice delayed gratification.
Yes.
Save up.
Not true.
And, get your assets debt free.
Yeah.
Yes. In fact, you get them at a discount when you give money. If you give cash, you get an asset at a discount. Yes.
Or not true. But also, go back to bonds again. I know I'm a strong believer of bonds here.
Yes, you're a strong bond believer.
If you hold bonds, you need a car. You have like that. We'll go back to that 10M.
Yeah.
Very easy.
Very, very easy.
Very easy. And, your asset basically can just support you in so many different ways.
Yes.
Because the dividends are coming in.
Yes.
All you'll need to do is cut down a bit on your lifestyle, depending on how you've, strategized your expenses. The car will be paid for. And I think that's why in most developed countries, they have almost like compulsory credit system. Because there are some places, in some countries, you don't buy cash.
You can't buy cash.
Yeah, you can't go I have X amount of millions, I want to buy this house. They'll be like,
that's fraud.
Yeah. We need to know your credit score.
Yeah.
Have you been spending your money and everything? But like I've said, also now in our country, it's completely different.
Yes.
Yeah, if you have money, you can just show up with and buy whatever you want.
And trust me, you will get a discount because it's cash.
Oh, yeah. No, actually, that's true. That's true. That's true. Because that person is looking like, this is too much. I don't need to deal with the headache of following up on payments and everything. It's a done deal. I'd rather give you 10% off and rather than follow up for 10, 15 years. Yeah. Interesting.
Very.
Now, another questions, right? Now, of course, actually, this one is to deal with leveraging debt as a tool of wealth building. That's almost what I've been talking about, holding your assets and borrowing against them.
Yes.
Is there anything else you think somebody can use now? Because I mentioned buying a car.
Yeah.
Is there something else you can just use that strategy to build your wealth? Use the assets that you have in a financial institution probably to buy more assets, kind of they still bring you money.
Yes. You can actually the thing for using your debt, many people are very few people actually use it because people are like, they're afraid to take loans. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're afraid to invest in certain aspects that will get them, say for lack of a better word, broke.
Yeah.
You know,
It might be risky.
It is risky.
Yeah.
But
Because you're not sure whether your strategy will work. And also, like, you have to keep in mind currently with economic times, inflation is there. And also, like, a global financial crisis right now. Not everybody knows exactly where we will be next year.
Nobody knows.
Yeah.
Actually.
So if you're taking a loan specifically for a business or something that you don't know whether it's guarantee going to take off, I don't know.
You must have a high appetite for risk.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That high risk appetite thing, they normally ask at the bank. Yours has to be like, way over the top.
You do have to have. You need to be able to take risks in this world. You know, you have to. Where we've been placed right now in our situation, you have to be able to take a risk, and that's why you don't be afraid to take a loan.
Yeah.
To develop, you know. And sometimes you can take a longer period of time to offset the loan so that when you get some money, you can use it again to reinvest in your business, and then you give back the money to the bank. Do you quite understand?
I do.
That way you're actually leveraging your debt in order to grow your business.
I think that's one of the things that personally I want to understand, because loans, you tell me a loan, I'm always like, no. I would rather I'm safe knowing that I don't owe anyone money.
Yeah.
Or my assets won't be confiscated because I owe somebody money. So, So, but I do want to learn that, because if you think of like maybe the biggest business moguls maybe around our country, you always hear them like, they're
always broke.
Yeah. They're always talking about that. And they file papers, they're like, I'm bankrupt, by the way.
Yes.
Or they'll put a down payment of like 20-30%, and then the rest of the project is taken care of with the banks.
Yes.
So I would just like to learn that kind of strategy, even if it's at small scale, and just grow slowly with it, so that,
But you know, most of them, what they do is they form companies. Yeah. Yes. So then the bank is loaning to the company, not to the individual.
You're not going there as an individual. Actually, that makes sense. Okay, now that makes sense. It's just because we get to hear the names.
Yes. You just get to hear the names behind the company. But it is the institution that's the one that gets auctioned. You know, if anything is to happen. Who is bankrupted? Is it Jack Ma? No, it is Jack Ma's institution.
It's his institution.
It's Alibaba, you know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But him is living his life. He's walking around in his billion.
You can't even start questioning such a person. It's like, you have to deal with the company, not me.
Yes. And that's one thing that people don't quite understand. You need to be able to hide behind something. Yeah, so that you don't affect yourself and you don't affect your family, you know.
Especially your family. Because otherwise, if you're working for all these, what's the whole point if somebody can just come in? Because you made a mistake that you're trying to rectify, and you're not even getting that opportunity to.
Yes.
Interesting. So.
And you must always have insurance. They act as a buffer.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yes.
You've mentioned that. I was going to go back to the questions, but let's talk about a bit. And when we're talking about insurance, are we talking about medical or life insurance?
Life.
Interesting. I want you to break that down, because I have questions about that, because I also got a bit of something from my relationship manager, but I want to hear it from you before I chip in my part.
Okay. So what exactly do you want to hear?
I want to know a bit. Now, let's just say somebody is listening to the podcast, like let's say my audience. And I remember, let's just say when I earlier started working, I remember some of my friends used to work for companies or institutions where they would walk around with papers and ask, I'm working for this bank, I'm working for this institution. I think you need to get a life insurance.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm always like, why are you talking to me about me dying? And you're telling me I need to pay a certain monthly fee so that I can, accommodate people when I'm dead.
Yeah.
In an African culture, maybe it feels like taboo, but I never used to want to even have that conversation.
Okay.
But so now for just an ordinary person, what's the importance of like just having a life insurance, and how does it help in wealth building as well? Because I hear it can be a strategy as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of people use it for wealth building. Now, life insurance basically is not dedicated to how you it's not basically only to buffer your. Oh my, I'm really trying to.
No. Just break it down in the simplest way you can.
I am.
Just picture
I'm
like
trying to
this is ordinary mwananchi you're talking to, and they're thinking of like, yes, I'm paying these monthly fees. Does it mean like if something happens to me, my family will still be able to take care of their expenses because I'm dead? I'm sorry to say that. But there's so many other. There's some other things.
When you're looking at it in that aspect, you think about this is a father of a family, yeah, and he's the breadwinner, yeah. So his family is dependent on him solely, yeah. If the family loses this person, what happens to the family?
Yeah,
you find in Africa, the children basically end up going to live with their relatives, yes. And when the child goes to live with their relatives, they become the house helps.
True.
They become the people who are now taking care.
That's how you pay rent. You're not eating here for free.
You see.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, you're like, if that was my child, would I want my child to go and start living with my brother and become my brother's house help? Is that what I really want? Do I want better for my child? So you prepare for that. Yeah. You're like, okay, fine. I'm going to put a buffer for them. Life insurance is not going to automatically take them from one level to another. No. What it's going to do is it will provide a buffer, a cushioning for them as they sort out their next steps in life, because it gets to be so traumatic.
Yeah.
That's one way to look at it. Way number 2 is to look at it as a disciplined way of saving. You have money, you're accustomed to having money or not. You are not good with your saving. And you're thinking in a number of years, I want to be able to accomplish a certain thing. And I do not necessarily want to get a loan for it, yeah? You're like, okay, fine, I've always wanted a car, but the car that I want is a Porsche Cayenne. And I know it's about 7 million. And I want it in about 10 years' time. But I do not want to take a loan to be able to drive a Porsche Cayenne. So what do? I decide I'm going to be putting aside 5,000, 10,000 shillings monthly for that specific reason. So that after maybe, I don't know, a period of 10 years, 15 years, you go and treat yourself with that machine that you wanted. Or maybe you want to go on holiday. You want to go on holiday with your boys.
Yeah.
Without it necessarily denting your pocket. What do? You put your money in one of the life insurance products. After 3 years, you get a small payout that you use to go out on holiday. You can use it for so many ways. And
I think that's one of the things that now for me, I had to reprogram myself, because I knew in life insurance means you dying. That's the only way. But you have to understand it also comes with, there was a product I was being explained to about, as you're paying like your life insurance, depending on the premiums that you'll be paying, there's a strategic way. Let's say I haven't had a kid. There's a way that it ties down to taking care of a kid that's not yet even born.
Yes.
So that when they're born, and they start going to, like, let's say primary school, high school, and uni, like that same life insurance policy will take care and pay for their primary, secondary, and actually uni fee. So those things, I didn't know that. And I think I blame my friend who never explained this, because they were saying, like, if something happens to you, I was like, I'm not having this discussion.
I'm not dying.
Yeah, but there's so many other products inside like that life insurance policy that are deep and more people just need to know. It's like, is there anything else maybe that is in that policy that maybe I'm not aware of, or like maybe people might not know it might be advantageous to have a life insurance policy because of, like, even like if you get into an accident and it hinders how you normally make money.
Yes.
Your life insurance policy takes care of the medical part of it.
Yes.
And also still you get kind of payouts, I guess. I don't know how
No,
often.
you don't get payouts.
How does it work?
What you get is they pause your contribution for a while. They don't really pause it. They contribute for you for the period that you cannot.
Oh, sorry. That's what I meant to say. Yeah. So that's why I'm asking like about clarity on some things. But you see, this still falls under life insurance policy, which an ordinary person would be like, so I'm just saving so that people can enjoy my money when I die. No, that's just not the whole
legacy. Even building your legacy, you know, because a lot of wealthy people do not require it per se, you know, not to buffer because they already have. But what do you want to do? Let's say, for example, what were the dynasties? How do you make your family from being a kawaida family into a dynasty?
Yeah.
You know, you use life insurance. How do you do it? You can decide to be the patriarch of the family or the matriarch of the family. You start to invest. When it gets to a certain period of time, instead of you taking out the money and using it for whatever, you put your money into a trust. And you keep growing your trust like that, you know? Yeah. And when you grow your trust, you open it into your family trust, yeah? When you put your money into that trust, and your children can borrow from the trust instead of borrowing from financial institutions, they grow their business off of that. They borrow and they pay back to that trust. And that's how some family banks begin. Yeah. That way it's legacy planning for your family. You know, you can use life insurance for
it has so many. However, we do have some partners, if they know you're worth a certain amount of money. You know, we've had these incidents, like, you know, it's happened. Unfortunately, kind of like they try and make sure, you know, you go out early so that, you know, that's their wealth building strategy. But we've had partners, we've seen it in the news, and, you know, there's always like now investigations like, they knew this person was X amount of money if they passed. So they tried to do like, you know, but with
everything, there are pros and cons, right?
True.
There are pros and cons.
So you can't say
what are the chances that you'll get a killer partner?
Right now in 2023, I mean, I can say 70% chances. If, of course, we're talking about economic crisis and economic desperation. Right now, when you see like people announcing like there's a job vacancy, how many people show up for?
Oh, wow. You saw the other day.
Yes. Yes. That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, so you also can't blame right now people when they're seeking partners for all the wrong reasons. Like there's some certain places, I won't mention them, but I've heard like, you know, there are a lot of single wealthy women in a certain region because their partners kind of disappear mysteriously or just die of natural causes. So I won't say where, but, you know, there are conversations about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to jump in also into some more questions because I'm saying we're almost, you know, we're already clocking 53 minutes. Imagine, like I told you, it won't, you know, it won't even seem like it's
we need another session.
No, we'll still do a part 2, but let me just see what other question I can just throw it in and make sure that we don't miss out on anything. Okay, let's see. What role does risk management play in wealth building, and how can individuals protect their assets? So what do you think?
Protecting your assets.
Risk management. I know we've mentioned it, like just by the way, from other pointers. But, you know, how can people be calculated, like, and just not lose?
Do you know that there are these firms that people seem not to trust so much? But these firms are actually built to do risk management for you. You know.
Are you going to mention them?
insurance companies.
Oh.
That is their core business. Risk management. Yes. You know, they do a lot of risk management. Even if you invest with them, they bear a bulk of your risk.
So if you lose, they compensate.
There are some schemes,
how does that
there's
work?
some plans that they have where they cushion so that when you get losses, you don't feel it. It doesn't eat up in your capital.
Oh.
Yes.
At all or just a little?
At all.
Okay, now can we know these institutions or are you going to? Because, the thing is now, I don't know how, where you work. And, if it would be like against company policy mentioning some, but where can people actually go and find this information though? I would like to know this information. Like, tell me
Well, I'm
how
attached
much,
to,
yeah.
Can I say that?
Yeah, you can say.
I'm attached to ICA Lion Group. Yes, I'm attached to ICA Lion Group, and they do have a crop of products that do not touch on your capital. Their business is to manage risks for you so that you can just be safe wherever you are. And when I was talking about the money markets is the most conservative way of saving because when there are losses experienced from where they save, they save in company papers. I mean, they invest in company papers. They invest only in companies that they know are strong. Yes.
Yeah.
They invest in bonds. They invest in.
So it's a pool of investments
It's
when
a
you're working.
pool of investments. Okay. Yes. So when they declare an interest, yeah. So it's like John invests, Ruth invests. Nafuna invests, and she invests also, yeah? And then we pull it together. So we've got a stronger muscle when it comes to investing, and therefore we get higher returns.
How high are we talking about? Is it like government high, like 16%? What are the returns?
Sometimes even higher, depending on where we invest.
Oh, yeah, depending on where.
Yes, and how the markets are doing and everything, you see.
But you're saying this can be cushioned in case of a loss?
In case of a loss, you do not feel the loss.
What?
They do not eat up your capital.
Okay, I think I need to re-strategize a bit,
Yes, they do not eat up your capital.
That's good.
But you do experience the gains in it.
Okay, then that's something that's a no-brainer, I think. But if you're not aware of such products, you wouldn't go into it.
No, you would not go into it.
Because for me, that's why you see I'm a strong believer. I know how bonds work and everything to do with bonds, and I'm just like, okay.
Yes.
But now, since you've mentioned something that might also I need to sleep on and just ponder that information.
Yes.
That's definitely something by next month I'll be...
You should.
No. No, that's 100% guaranteed because that's like a financial building right now and that's just me.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the best thing about it is, in as much as we recommend that you put some money in a bank account, we don't recommend that you put it there for long periods of time because it does not grow as fast. I think it's pointless having money just in a savings account to see like the zeros plus inflation. The only way you can fight inflation is if your money is working for you somewhere. Yes,
it has to be somewhere. You have to put it to work.
Why not take the money you have in your savings account, put it in a money market account, and let it grow for you daily.
I'm doing that. We'll have a chat after this. Okay, now another one, because I'm just trying to balance out this time. I don't want to leave anything out.
Yeah.
How can individuals strike a balance between saving for the future and enjoying wealth in the present? So do we just say we go back to investments?
Go back to investments. That's why I was saying that there needs to be at least 3 accounts. You see?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. In such a way that, you don't touch on your long-term savings at all because you're like, nimesota, I'm so broke. You go and stop your other investments because you want to do your day-to-day living. No. No. So you need to organize yourself. You have those 3 accounts. You have your emergency account, you have your bank account or SACCO account, and you have your long-term savings account. you know. Unlike for you, your CDS bonds account.
Oh yeah.
That's also important if you have a few shillings. Yeah.
So now another important one, and I know I just kept looking at the clock. Okay, how can individuals adjust their wealth management strategies as they move through different stages in life? Because I know we mentioned, like, the younger you are, but like now when we're talking about different stages in life, let's say 20s, 30s, and 40s. 50s, I know if you don't have a plan, that's just me, I'm telling you. 50s, if you don't have a plan, we're not in the States where you can just wake up and do a patent and make millions.
Yeah.
Kenya, it's a bit different. I think you also need to be aware of your environment.
Yes.
And how just not achieving something at a certain age, it will make it even slightly harder.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
It does, yes. So I think for that, you could call me.
Oh, yeah. No, you can plug yourself. You can plug yourself so that people can reach out to you.
Call me.
Yeah.
I think John will put my number there.
We will, when we're winding up, because we have 2 more questions. When we're winding up, we'll leave people with information where they can.
I'm a financial planner. I'll be able to talk to you through it, depending on what age group you're in. We will be able to arrange your accounts, your finances. We will start right from scratch, look for the wastage, and grow. Teach you how to budget and grow on it. And then you'll find your growth easier that way.
Okay. And I think, because I think the thing, even with that question, it will be basically like giving out like everything for free when it's supposed to be worked on from an institution or somebody who specialized in that. But like she's here on the platform, and just all you need to do is just reach out and actually make a plan depending on the stage where you are in your life. If you're just getting into the workforce, if you've been in the workforce, or whether maybe you're going towards retirement.
Yes, financial planning is very personal. It's not something that you do as a group. Everybody has their very own path, You can't expect that because we are in the same age group or because we went to school together, we're at the same place. No, we are not. Just because we go and eat food at a certain place does not mean we're at the same point in life, So it's very different for everybody. It's very individual,
And even if you were to say something, there's somebody who can be like, okay, this makes sense, but another person will be like, no, I can't relate to it because maybe this is capital intensive. This one, I don't even understand what it is and why even bother. So just depending on where you are in life, I think it's good to get like a financial expert to actually like her to just tailor make something like a package for you, and you can work towards that plan actually.
Yes, we can do.
Makes sense?
Personal financial plan together.
Okay, so now one of the last ones. Are there any specific technologies or platforms that can assist individuals in building and managing wealth more effectively than maybe what we're already used to? So technology-wise?
There are many apps that have been made for that.
Really?
Yes.
That you can use in Kenya?
Yes, free apps actually.
What?
I can get back to you with a list.
Okay,
But they basically help you with your tracking your expenditure. Yes. Those can be good for you.
Okay. I mean, so that's where technology lies in, and platforms, maybe websites that somebody can just go and
oh my.
Is there any that you can recommend, or they have to just reach out to you?
They have to reach out to me.
So anyway, guys, now you have to understand why some information can be out here. But I think just like we've said, for when it comes to finances, I think packages most likely have to kind of be tailor-made for you.
They have to be tailor-made for you.
It's the only way it will make sense.
Yes, just like a suit.
Yeah.
You could look awkward in someone else's suit.
That's true. That's very true. That's very true.
Yes.
And I think, we can just kind of like wind it from there, because I know we've hit 1 hour.
Yeah.
And I would want us to have like a part 2
now
with a list also of just different questions again. Because once you start talking about money, it can never be enough.
No, it's never enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what could be like your parting shot for like, people who are listening before we go to like where they can find you and all that information? So like what would be like, a personal financial tip that you can just give the audience?
Okay.
Whether it's delayed gratification or
Yes.
high risk, high reward. You just tell them what they should know.
I wouldn't say high risk, high reward in this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what I would say is you sincerely need to look into your finances very much right now. You need to budget completely, but mostly you need to find a way to open those 3 accounts. They really will help you manage your expenditure. They will help you manage your saving. They will help you run your life better. Yeah.
I think that's important because, I think as just growing up, financial conversations were boring to me.
Yes.
Always. Like you just start talking about money, I'm out. But it gets to a point where in life, you have bills to pay.
Yes.
You see somebody else with a strategy, how it's working out for them.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, now I understand the importance of
financial planning.
Financial planning and building wealth.
Yes.
And you also just want, because the thing is, if you're building wealth, you also have to at times have a strategy for also the people around you.
Yes.
Because you can only imagine if you're making money and the people around you everybody else is not making money. So that means they have to come to you for the money that you
have made.
Yeah.
So you don't grow, you stagnate.
Yeah, so you'll still kind of almost just be in the same situation. You always don't have money, stressed out when it's supposed to be like, building your community as well. It's not just about you, people around you. I guess that's also important. So anyway, tell people where they can find you and, anything else they need to know in case they need to contact you.
You can call me on...
You don't have to put your number. No. Don't put your number. Hey, other people will call for other reasons. Like maybe on social media or your email.
On social media.
From there, you can give them like your personal line.
Okay.
So just
not
tell...
personal business.
Oh, business line.
Yes.
Yeah. So please just maybe where in general they can find you or maybe your email. I think that's more...
Email.
Yeah.
Yes.
Give them your email and... they can reach out to you for financial expertise and just planning.
Financial expertise.
Yes.
So you can reach out to me on Instagram. I'm at Nafuna Were on Instagram. You could follow me. You can DM me there. I'm not on Facebook. Yeah. Or I'm on TikTok also.
That's good.
Nafuna Were. Yes, I was trying something small.
And I've seen people doing like a lot of financial experts are actually now on TikTok because of the platform and how it's reaching out to a lot of people.
Yes.
So I think,
the
more you put yourself out there, especially with that, you just never know.
Yes.
You just never know. So also on TikTok?
Yes, I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok, and my business line is 0720 385 386.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, the Kisscapades podcast is your gateway to holistic growth and personal transformation. Together we'll unlock the secrets to living a life of health, wealth, love, and happiness. So make sure to tune in every week and join us as we explore the essence of what it means to truly thrive. And lastly, show us some love and support in our social media platforms from Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, basically all the social media platforms that, support podcasting will definitely be there. Even with the short clips and reels, you can find us there. And lastly, don't be shy with feedback, suggestions, or any questions that you might have in regards to the episodes or our podcast. It's the Kisscapades podcast. Goodbye. Goodbye.